Hello friends, Christian Carter with Radius, and today we are talking about second homes again, and we're going to talk about how to finance these, right? And we're going to let you in on a little secret too. Here's a good tip on how to buy a vacation home essentially for free, right? Couple caveats there. You got to have own your own home. You got to have a good amount of equity in there, but we are going to talk about how to finance that second home, vacation home, whether it's a house up in a cabin up in the mountains, maybe in a ski area, whether it's a nice house on a beach somewhere, a little retreat in a town that you like, anything like that. We're going to talk about how to finance a second home almost for free. So without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, now before we get into the meat and potatoes of the actual video, let's go over a quick caveat real quick. The mortgage guidelines for a second home, right? So what makes a second home according to mortgage guidelines, right? All right, number one, first off, the borrower must occupy the home for some portion of the year. Now, there is no specific set in stone number of days that you must occupy the home from a mortgage standpoint. It's just kind of open-ended, right? So the borrower must occupy the home for a certain portion of the year, right? Next one, it must be a one-unit property, so a single-family home. No duplexes, no four families, no commercial spaces in the property, all right? So it must be a single-family, one-unit home. Next up, the home must be suitable for year-round occupancy, right? So think about in colder climates, it's got to have an adequate heating system and things like that. So it has to be able to be occupied year-round. Next up here, the home cannot be a rental property or timeshare. We're going to come back to this one, but when we're thinking rental property or timeshare, it can't be like a full-time rental property that you rent out 365 days a year and you have a tenant in there, right? So it can't be that. Next up here, the borrower must retain exclusive control over the house, right? So no like putting it in a trust or no adding someone else as, an owner to the property. The borrower who buys this second home needs to retain control over this property, right? And then last up here, the home cannot be subject to any agreements that give a management firm control over the occupancy of the home, right? Now, when we're thinking about this last one, think about, I know there's like a lot of short-term rental management companies out there. I think one's Evolve. There's a number of them out there, right? But they will actually put guests into a short-term, rental property for you. So none of that. Right? So these are the mortgage guidelines for a second home. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get into the meat and potatoes. All right, so let's run a quick scenario here, right? Let's say you find a second home that you would like, right? And the purchase price of that second home is $500,000, right? Now, we all know that the down payment for a second home is not 20% or 25% or anything ridiculous like that. The down payment for a second home is only 10%, right? So 10% down payment on a $500,000 purchase price, that's $50,000, right? That's how much you'd have to put down on this vacation home, which of course would make your loan amount $450,000, right? Now, the way we're gonna get this 10% down payment is, one way you can do it is by getting a home equity line of credit, a HELOC, on your primary residence, right? So if you have enough equity in the home that you live in, you can pull $50,000 or whatever the down payment you need is in order to use as a down payment for that second home, right? So now that we've pulled the money from the primary residence, let's start looking at what our monthly payment is going to look like for this second home, right? So our total monthly payment, we're going to go over everything, but our total monthly payment for this, $450,000 loan amount, $500,000 purchase price, is going to be $3,821, right? Now, how did I get that? How did I get that number? Well, that's a 30-year fixed rate at 6.5%, right? Let's do a little breakdown of that monthly payment. Included in this monthly payment, of course, is principal and interest of $2,844. Principal and interest is just going back to pay the loan back, right? We have homeowners insurance of $100 estimated. Real estate taxes at $450, again, estimated. We have PMI. Because we're not putting 20% down, we're only making a 10% down payment. We do have to pay mortgage insurance on this payment. So that's going to be private mortgage insurance of $93 a month. And then right down here, this is our HELOC payment, right? I know I have a video out there of how to calculate a HELOC payment, but essentially we borrow the $50,000 in the form of a HELOC from our primary residence, and that's going to cost us $333 per month. If you're wondering why that's so low, it's because this is an interest-only payment, right? This is not technically going back to pay the loan. There's another video out there all about HELOCs. But for our intents and purposes, $333 is coming from our HELOC. That is how we got the total monthly payment of $3,821. Now, I originally said that we're going to get this second home, this vacation home, for free, right? So we took the $50,000 from our primary residence that we already live in. That's kind of like free money. Now we need to figure out what we're going to do with this total mortgage payment of $3,821, right? Remember that number. All right, so we've dealt with the down payment, right? We've got the down payment from our primary residence in the form of a HELOC, and it's costing us about $333 a month, right? However, what are we going to do about this mortgage payment of $3,821? We want to buy this second home for free, right? No money out of pocket, no monthly expenses. So what are we going to do about this? I'll tell you right now. What we're going to do is we're going to log on to Airbnb or Vrbo or one of the other vacation rental sites, and we're going to start renting this property out a couple days a month on one of those short-term rental sites, right? And the reason why I say a couple days a month is that it still needs to be a second home for you and your family and blah, blah, blah. We can't turn this into a rental property, right? But we're going to rent it out for a couple days, let's say on Airbnb, right? Now, let's say we rent the property out for $350 per night, right? And let's say we rent it out 11 days per month, right? So we rent that property out for $350 per night for 11 days out of the month. That brings us to $3,850. So what we've essentially done by renting this property out for 11 days 11 days out of the month, $350 per night, we've essentially gotten rid of that monthly mortgage payment. Now, I know what you're thinking, right? You're like, Christian, you missed a ton of expenses. Sure, you talked about the mortgage payment, but there's other expenses dealing with a second home, such as, the electric bill, the water bill, a cleaning fee. Who's going to clean the place after each day? The point of the exercise was to do a quick example how you can borrow the down payment from your current home and then offset your monthly mortgage payment by renting out that second home, right? That was the point of it. I will do another video on all the expenses that actually go into managing a short-term rental or a vacation property or something like that. But the point of this exercise was to give a quick example of how to get the down payment and how to offset your monthly mortgage payment. All right, that is all she wrote. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. If you did, I would love it if you can give it a big thumbs up. That really helps me. What also helps me out is if you subscribe to my channel, because that helps me out as well. Most importantly, if you have any questions or topics or things that you want me to cover in future videos, please leave them in the comments below. That way I can make a video on that topic, whether it's mortgage or real estate related. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Adios.